live from the drama-free true crime destination. No distractions, no detours, just the cases, the clarity, and the conviction you deserve. This is the main event. And a Merry Christmas Eve to you, everybody. Welcome back to the drama-free true crime destination known as Bethea'S Byte. And this is the main event. Welcome, one and all. I'm Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw. So good to have you here on this Christmas Eve. And tonight we are going to wrap up 2025 with the top verdicts of 2025. And as I always do, we're going to kick things off with my opening statement. So gather around. Let's get ready. Let's do this. We're going to kick things off right now with said opening statement. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, on this Christmas Eve, we gather not in a courtroom, but in a moment of clarity. A moment to look back at a year that put all of us, our values, our fears, our hopes under oath. 2025 was a year of testimony, a year of cross-examination, a year where the truth didn't whisper, it demanded to be heard. Tonight, we revisit 10 verdicts, 10 rulings that didn't just close cases, they opened conversations about justice, about accountability, about the fragile line between what we believe and what we can prove. From Boston to Boise, from Los Angeles to Knoxville, courtrooms became mirrors. They reflected our culture, our conflicts, our contradictions. They showed us families torn apart, institutions stretched thin, communities crying out for answers, and a nation wrestling with the weight of its own conscience. These verdicts are more than headlines. They are mile markers. They tell the story of who we were in 2025 and who we refuse to be. So tonight, with the year drawing to a close and the world slowing down for a holy night, we take our seats, we quiet our spirits, and we listen once more to the rulings that shaped us. No rumors, no rewrites, just verdicts. This is the top verdicts of 2025. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the main event. And we're going to kick things off in Massachusetts. But remember, at 2025, we saw a retrial that gripped the nation. We saw a family plot that stunned the nation. Verdicts from coast to coast that forced America to stop and listen. From Boston to Tallahassee and courtrooms in between, 2025 was a year of reckoning, a year where verdicts didn't just land, they echo. So tonight, courtesy of our partners at Court TV, we revisit the rulings that defined the year. As I said, there are no rumors or rewrites. There are no distractions or detours, just the verdicts. We now kick things off at the top with our top verdicts of 2025, starting in Massachusetts, the Irish firefighter rape trial. Terrence Crosby was on trial, where a Boston jury would find him guilty of a single charge of rape. Crosby, a Dublin firefighter, was visiting Boston with fellow firefighters to walk in the St. Patrick's Day parade when the March 15th, 2024 attack happened. Let's watch this verdict come down together.
session. Please be seated and thank you.
The jury has informed us that they have a verdict, so the court officers are arranging for the jurors to be brought to the courtroom. As you know, as I know the court officers informed you, composure is required for all of these proceedings involving the verdict. If you think for some reason in the audience you cannot maintain your composure, now is the time to wait in the hallway. We're ready for the jury, please.
Thank you, Honor. Officer Bethe'a. Ready for the jurors. Yeah. All rise, jury entered.
The jury is entering the courtroom. The judge just doing what many judges do, instructing the gallery. Composure is required. If you do not think you can go do that, then please go out into the hallway. The jury coming in, having announced they have a jury verdict. I'm still surprised, Kelly. I think we're comparing
Will the defendant and the deliberating
evidence.
jurors remain standing. All others, please be seated.
Your Honor, may I inquire?
Yes.
Members of the jury, have you agreed upon your verdict?
Yes.
May I have the verdict slip, please? What say you, Mr. Foreperson, as to indictment number 2024-00244, offense 001, rape? Is the defendant not guilty or guilty?
Guilty.
Members of the jury, hearken to your verdicts as the court has recorded it. You, upon your oath, do say that the defendant, Terrence Crosby, on indictment number 2024-00244, offense 001, is guilty. So say you, Mr. Foreperson.
Yes.
So say all members of the jury.
Yes.
May the verdict slips be filed and recorded.
Yes, the verdict is recorded. Jurors, you may have a seat. Jurors, thank you for your attention and conscientiousness throughout this trial. I thank the alternate jurors as well as the deliberating jurors. I want to assure you that any time the jury does what you have done, which is listen carefully to the evidence and to the instructions and deliberate fairly and objectively together, you can be assured that you have a fair and just verdict. Your jury service is now concluded. You're officially excused. I will be in your jury room in 2 or 3 minutes for an informal session for anyone who wants to participate, where I can receive any comments and answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for your loyal service to the country and to the Commonwealth and to the county. You're excused.
In the end, Crosby was sentenced to 7 to 9 years in prison after that guilty verdict. Next, we go to Iowa, where Karina Cooper was standing trial for the first-degree murder of her husband, Ryan Cooper. Karina's lover, Houston Danker, pleaded guilty to his role in Ryan's shooting death. Prosecutors in Karina's case argued that she and Danker were having an affair and plotted to kill Ryan to collect $500,000 in life insurance. Let's go to Iowa for the widow's words murder trial verdict.
All right, I have a form of verdict. Form of verdict 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Karina Cooper, guilty of the offense of murder in the first degree, dated this 11th day of July, 2025. And juror number 1, is that the jury's verdict?
Yes, it is, Your
Would you like the jury polled, Ms. Watt? All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, at this point, I'm going to ask that you return to the jury room with Ms. Davis just for a bit. We have a couple matters we need to wrap up here, and then I will come and talk to you in just a bit before I release you from your obligations in this case. So thank you, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. Go ahead and have a seat.
Karina Cooper was sentenced to life in prison without parole in that case. Our number 3 case is one that captured the nation's attention. The Matriarch Mastermind Murder Trial, Florida versus Donna Adelson. Adelson was one of 5 who was charged in the murder for hire plot of her former son-in-law, FSU law professor Dan Markell. Prosecutors said Donna, the matriarch of a prominent South Florida family that ran a successful dental practice, arranged to have Markell killed after a judge granted him shared custody of the children he shared with her daughter Wendy. The custody arrangement tethered Wendy to Tallahassee, which was 500 miles north of Donna's South Beach home. Let's go to Florida for that verdict.
Welcome back to Court TV. Let's get you right back into court for that much anticipated verdict of Donna Adelson.
Having reviewed the verdict form, it is in its proper order. At this time, I will publish the verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and dated by the foreperson. One moment. Members of the jury, the bailiff will escort you to the jury room. Mrs. Adelson, while this was not the outcome I'm sure that you desired, there will not be any further outbursts in front of the jury. If you cannot control yourself, I am going to have to determine if you will be removed from the remainder of this process. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Do you need a moment to collect yourself? Before the jurors are brought back in, we will take a brief 2-minute break. Please give her tissues if she needs them.
Judge, I'm forwarding some impact to the defense and to your honor.
When the jurors are brought back into the room, does the defense wish to have the jurors polled before they are discharged?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well.
All right, joining me after this, verdict Court TV anchor Ted Rowlands. Ted, is this what you expected the outcome to be? What do you think?
You know what, Cody? I think that this is where it was going. I mean, it felt like after watching the closings today, watching this entire trial, Georgia Kappelman and her team did an excellent job of boiling down what evidence they did have against Donna Adelson, which was not overwhelming, and one could argue not beyond a reasonable doubt, but it was clear, it was concise, it was, you could understand it, and it made sense. And I think the jury got it right. I would not have been shocked if it was a hung jury or if it took days to get to this point, but guilty on all counts, to me, seems like justice for Dan Markel.
And Ted, I think you hit it right on the head. Georgia Kappelman really made all of that evidence very digestible for the jury to take in. You know, I want to ask you, what do you think about Donna not taking the stand? Do you think that would have swayed anything in this trial if she got up there and told her story, what she believed to be the truth?
You know, I actually think it, you know, throwing a Hail Mary in a lot of cases at her age probably would have been worth the risk. She would have had to have come up with a somewhat reasonable explanation for everything. I don't know that she had it in her. Look at her behavior in the pretrial motion hearings. Look at her behavior when she was arrested at the Miami airport. And look at her behavior now. She, I don't believe, would have been able to withstand her mano a mano, woman against woman, her against Georgia Kappelman. She's going down. And I think that probably was a factor on the defense side when deciding whether or not to throw her up there.
And Ted, you mentioned the infamous airport video. You know, her defense attorney said in her closings today that, quote, a theory doesn't prove a crime, which, you know, on paper that holds weight. But when you have Donna and Harvey heading to a one-way flight to Vietnam after Charlie's conviction and after she searches countries with no extradition on her phone, I mean, you don't want to insult the jury's intelligence that way, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And if you think about it, the defense did a good job of bringing up the fact that there is no evidence pre-murder that ties Donna to this conspiracy to commit murder. The problem was her actions afterwards. And they were well documented and, as we talked about, boiled down, digestible. The cherry on top was the trip to Nam. Her and Javi, one-way ticket to Vietnam, and caught, of course, on that open mic talking about extradition. To your point, Cody, that is insulting. And because that, when you hear it, when we all heard it, I was like, oh boy, she's going down. And that's what happened.
Absolutely, Ted. And I'm getting word that the judge is back on the bench speaking right now. Let's get right back into that courtroom.
Is the defense asking for a pre-sentence report on counts 2 and 3? As to count 1, the penalty is statutory, and essentially there is no modification for it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well, pre-sentence investigation report is ordered by the court as to counts 2 and 3. As to count 1, is there any reason why we cannot proceed to sentencing on this matter?
Your Honor, we would request an opportunity to ensure that our client is okay before we proceed to sentencing. It's my understanding that Charlie Adelson wasn't sentenced right away. We're asking for the same courtesy.
Very well. The court then will set a separate sentencing date.
And the end result for that trial had Donna Adelson being sent to prison for life without the possibility of parole, to be followed by another 30 years if she makes it that long. So our first few cases have been all on the east side. We've been to Massachusetts, we've been to Iowa, then we took it to Florida. Now we're going to go cross country from East Coast to West Coast. And the celebrity stylist murder trial, California versus Monica Cementelli. Cementelli charged with the death of her husband, celebrity hairstylist Fabio Cementelli. Prosecutors argues that Monica and her lover Robert Baker killed Fabio to continue their affair and cash in on a life insurance policy worth a whopping $1.6 million. Let's get ready and let's check that verdict out.
Juror number 10, I understand the jury has reached verdicts. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are the verdicts dated and signed?
Yes, sir.
Please hand all verdict forms to the and you. Clerk, please read the verdicts.
In the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in Department 101, the people of the State of California versus Monica Cementelli, in case number BA 452-975-02. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Cementelli, guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We further find the murder to be of the first degree. We further find the allegation that the murder of Fabio Cementelli was intentional and carried out by the defendant, Monica Cementelli, for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A1 to be true. We further find the allegation that the defendant, Monica Cementelli, intentionally killed the victim by means of lying in wait within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A15 to be true. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror seat number 10, foreperson. In the same case, title, and cause, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Cementelli, guilty of the crime of conspiracy to commit murder in violation of Penal Code Section 182A1, a felony as charged in count 2 of the indictment. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror number 10, foreperson. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are these your verdicts? So say you one, so say you all.
Yes. Does the defense of the jury poll?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Please poll the jury.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as I call your seat number, please answer yes or no to the question. Juror in seat number 1, are these your verdicts?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 2?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 3?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 4?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 5?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 6?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 7?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 8?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 9?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 10?
Yes.
Juror in seat number 11?
Yes.
And juror in seat number 12.
Yes. The jury has been polled. The verdicts are ordered recorded. Both sides waive reading of the verdicts as recorded by the people.
Yes.
And the defense.
Yes.
Your service now comes to an end.
I am always for a I'm always for one side or another to poll a jury whenever whether the verdict is unanimous or not. And hearing the jury answering back whether those verdicts are theirs and sticking to that verdict is sweet music to my ears, one way or the other. As for Monica Cementelli, her fate sentenced her to life without the possibility of parole. We're going to come up around, I won't say around my neck of the woods because I'm in Oregon and this case happened in Washington. This is the attempted honor killing trial, which is now number 6 on my list. Ihsan and Zara Ali were charged with attempted second-degree murder in an altercation with their teenage daughter, Ihsan, who was convicted of second-degree assault, unlawful imprisonment, and fourth-degree assault, and Zara, who was convicted of violating a no-contact order filed on behalf of her father of her daughter's boyfriend. Since she served, well, let's just go ahead and I'll give you the result, the full-on result afterwards.
Please be seated. Juror number 11, are you the presiding juror?
Yes, Your Honor.
Could you please provide the materials that you have to the bailiff? I need to first verify that the verdict forms are in the proper format, so that's going to take a moment. The forms are the verdict forms are filled out correctly, and I will now publish them. We, the jury, find the defendant Ihsan Ali not guilty of the crime of attempted murder in the second degree as charged in count 1. We, the jury, having found the defendant not guilty of the crime of assault in the first degree as charged, or being unable to unanimously agree as to that charge, find the defendant Ihsan Ali guilty of the lesser crime of assault in the second degree. Special verdict form. We, the jury, answer the question submitted by the court as follows. Were Ihsan Ali and Fatima Ali members of the same family or household? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant Ihsan Ali guilty of the crime of unlawful imprisonment as charged in count 3. We, the jury, answer the question submitted by the court as follows. Were Ihsan Ali and Fatima Ali members of the same family or household? Answer, yes. We, the jury, find the defendant Ihsan Ali guilty of the crime of assault in the 4th degree as charged in count 4. We, the jury, find the defendant Zahra Ali not guilty of the crime of attempted murder in the 2nd degree as charged in count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant Zahra Ali not guilty of the crime of assault in the 2nd degree as charged. We, the jury, find the defendant Zahra Ali not guilty of the crime of unlawful imprisonment as charged in count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant Zahra Ali not guilty of the crime of burglary in the 2nd degree as charged in count 4. We, the jury, find the defendant Zahra Ali guilty of the crime of violation of a court order as charged in count 5. I am now going to poll the jury, and what that means is that I'm going to ask each of you the same question. The first question I am going to ask is whether or not these are your verdicts, and then I'm going to ask whether or not these are the verdicts of the jury. Juror number 1, are these your verdicts? Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 2, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 3, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 4, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 5, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 6, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 7, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 8, are these your verdicts?
Yes, they are.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, they are.
Juror number 9, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 10, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 11, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 12, are these your verdicts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are they the verdicts of the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I am satisfied that these are the proper verdicts, that they are unanimous, and I accept them.
Okay, so here's where this one stood. Both Ihsan and Zahra Ali were acquitted of the top count of attempted second-degree murder. Ihsan was convicted of second-degree assault, unlawful imprisonment, and fourth-degree assault, and was sentenced to 14 months in prison. Zahra was convicted of violating a no-contact order filed on behalf of the father of her daughter's boyfriend, sentenced to 364 days in jail, with 83 days suspended for 24 months. She was not taken back into custody since she served 9 months in jail before the verdict. Now we're going to travel right back to Massachusetts for what could be called the retrial of the century. Karen Reed was put on trial for a second time in the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. While she was battling for her very life, her legal battles are nowhere near over. She's fighting a wrongful death lawsuit filed by John O'Keefe's family, and recently filed her own against the group, saying that she says conspired to frame her for O'Keefe's death. But that matter is civil. Let's go to the verdict in the criminal trial.
Will the deliberating jurors remain standing? Defendant remain standing. All other parties may be seated.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that 12 deliberating jurors and 6 alternates are present.
Yes.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman, members of the jury, have you agreed upon a verdict?
Yes.
Thank you. May I see the papers? Mr. Foreman, have the verdict slips been placed in this envelope and have they been in your presence ever since?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman, on docket number 2282CR117001, murder in the second degree, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you?
Charlie.
No. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do all of you agree? Yes. Thank you. 002, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
Of.
Is not guilty or guilty of that charge or any lesser included charge? Thank you. Specifically, number 5, operating under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. Correct? 003, what say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? Defendant not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all? Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records that you upon your oath say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty. Thank you.
All right, jurors, everybody please be seated. Jurors, we thank you for your service. We're going to send you back. Your service is complete. I'd like to come back and talk to you for a little bit afterwards. So thank you very much.
All rise. Jurors, follow me. Media, please exit the courtroom immediately.
Karen Reed?
Not
yet.
Tony,
Hold on,
not yet.
hold on,
Not
everyone.
yet.
Karen Reed. Ms. Reed, can I have your attention? As required by statute, I must inform you that the records regarding the charges that you have been found not guilty will be sealed by the Commissioner of Probation by the court unless you notify the Commissioner of Probation in writing within 10 days that you do not want these records sealed. To request that these records not be sealed, you may use the Request Not to Seal form, which is posted on the trial court's website on mass.gov. I cannot accept the form here in court. You must submit it to the Commissioner of Probation at the address provided on the form. Please be aware that if the records regarding the charges which you have been found not guilty are sealed, you will be unable to access the sealed record of the not guilty dispositions or any other records regarding those charges. If you want copies of any documents regarding those charges before the records are sealed, you should request copies from the court within 10 days. Do you understand? Thank you.
All right, so we need a date for sentencing. Can we do it next week?
We would be prepared to go forward today.
Okay. Okay. All right, so Mr. Yannetti, you're ready to go forward today as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Brennan, what's the Commonwealth's recommendation?
Your Honor, the Commonwealth moves for sentencing. We recommend probation, 1 year, 24D program.
So the standard that everybody else gets on a first-time OUI?
Certainly.
Okay.
We ask that she be treated no differently, no better.
So I'm happy to do it. All right, thank you all.
1 year probation, 1 year probation on docket number 002, the lesser included offense of operating under the influence. 1 year probation. Thank you. The 24D program is. Thank you.
Immediately. All rise.
Goodbye.
Between what was announced in court and the roar of the crowd outside of it said everything. Karen Reed acquitted of second-degree murder in the death of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, but the jury did find her guilty of a lesser offense of operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol and was sentenced to 1 year probation. But like I mentioned, she's still dealing with a civil matter against O'Keefe's family. So this thing's not over yet. Speaking of civil trials, we have the first grader shoots teacher civil trial in Virginia. Abigail Werner suing Dr. Ebony Parker because of a first grader shot Werner. The lawsuit was filed by Werner against former assistant principal Dr. Ebony Parker. In the lawsuit, Werner claimed that the student shot her had a history of issues, including an incident when he allegedly strangled and choked a teacher. According to documents in the case, Parker had a reputation for ignoring teachers' concerns and allowing students to get away with misconduct. On the day of the shooting, Parker was accused of ignoring warnings about the student and refusing to grant permission for a guidance counselor to search the student for a firearm. Now we go to that Virginia courtroom. The jury has deliberated for 5 hours, 15 minutes, and 12 seconds. Let's hear what the jury had to say in this case.
Indicates we see them standing up inside of the courtroom. That means that jury of 7 is walking in. Let's go in together.
The order of things will be as follows. I will bring the jury in, and I'm admonishing everyone in the courtroom that I will not tolerate nor have any outbursts. This is a very important case to both sides, and the dignity of this courtroom has been upheld throughout this trial, and I appreciate that from both sides and the parties and everyone who has been here for the past 2 weeks, and I expect that to continue. If there are any outbursts, you will be immediately taken outside the courtroom and left to not listen anymore. So please, no outbursts. My clerk will take the verdict. She will then read it, and then we will have and hear any motions at that time. You may bring in the jury.
Okay. Jack Rice, real quick, while we're watching this, what is the impact of this case on a national level, in your opinion?
It's amazing, isn't it? When we look at just how much this has impact, people have really been grabbed by this. They really have. They're watching what this means.
Hold on,
and I think
listen in.
what we find.
All right, will the foreperson please identify him or herself by number?
Foreman 37.
All right, if you can fold that piece of paper as you had it and hand that to my clerk. Clerk, will you please read the verdict?
We, the jury, on the issues joined, find in favor of the plaintiff, Abigail Zwerner, and assess her damages at $10 million. The award interest beginning on June 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any requests from the plaintiff?
No, Your Honor.
Any requests from the defense?
That we schedule time for post-trial motions.
All right.
And judgment not be entered on the verdict today.
All right. So the court will withhold entry of a judgment order in the case. The court will further reserve all rulings and hearings on post-trial motions for a later date to be set by the parties. Anything else to take up at this time, Mr. Bethea'S? Ms. Douglas?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, your term expires tomorrow, so you were still admonished by the court that because you still are in term, that you are not to talk about any of the cases that you've heard during this term, but you do not need to call back. Thank you very much for your service. It is an important service to all of us, and I know it has been a difficult service, but one that is necessary for the resolution of disputes in this country, that I am very proud that we get to exercise those rights. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are excused.
Yes, you heard that at the very end. Abigail Zwerner, the plaintiff in the case, was awarded $10 million in that civil suit against Dr. Ebony Parker for the first grader that shot her in her class. Next up is our number 8 case. We're going to stay in Virginia for Natalie Cochran's verdict in the Ponzi scheme murder trial. At the time of her husband Michael Cochran's death, Natalie was running a Ponzi scheme that defrauded investors, including Michael's parents, out of millions of dollars. Now her fate is in the hands of a jury in the first-degree murder of her husband Michael. Let's prepare to go to that one.
Hour 51, a lot of times a quick verdict is beneficial to the defendant. Oh, the jury has just they're walking into the courtroom, so hold your thought. Let's go back in and watch.
Madam Foreperson, has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes.
Would you hand that verdict to the bailiff who will transmit it to the court? Would the defendant please rise? In the case of State of West Virginia versus Natalie Page Cochran, case number 23-F-343K, the jury verdict is as follows. We, the jury on the issues joined, unanimously find the following. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree. The verdict form there are no marks on the portion of the verdict form pertaining to involuntary manslaughter. Does the state wish to examine the jury verdict form?
No, thank you.
Does the defense?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You may be seated. Is there a request for the court to poll the jury?
Not from the state, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right. The verdict is received by the court and directed to be recorded. I'll ask the state to prepare an appropriate order in the premises. The court accepts the jury verdict and finds this defendant guilty of murder in the first degree. The defense will be afforded time to file all appropriate motions, and as we discussed earlier, we must have further proceedings concerning the aspect of mercy. I would like to do that right away, and perhaps to commence this afternoon. I can afford the defense or the state 2 hours to prepare, and we can go directly into the mercy phase.
Natalie Cochran was sentenced to life in prison without parole for that murder. And we are getting closer and closer to my winner for the verdict of the year. But right now, this one came close, extremely close. We go to Tennessee for the verdict in Megan Boswell's trial for the murder of baby Evelyn Mae Boswell. Megan Boswell was on trial for the death of her 15-month-old daughter, who had not been seen since December 2019, when she was reported missing in February 2020. Evelyn's remains were found later in a shed belonging to Megan's family. So we're gonna go get ready to go to that Tennessee courtroom right now for the verdict: Tennessee versus Megan Boswell.
Count 2, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony. Is the judgment of this court you are guilty? In count 3, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony. Is the judgment of this court you are guilty? In count 4, a judgment of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child abuse. Is the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 5, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child neglect. Is the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 6, the jury of your peers having found you guilty of tampering with evidence. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 7, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 8, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 9, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 10, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 11, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 12, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. Is the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. Is the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. And in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances. It's the judgment of the court you are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess the fine, so there'll be no fine assessed in those counts. Now we'll be in recess about 15 minutes.
Thank you. Court stands in recess.
Guilty on all counts. So that is the verdict from the jury in the case against defendant Megan Boswell. She murdered her beautiful 15-month-old daughter, Evelyn. And she put Evelyn's body in a trash can. And there she is crying as she's being led out by a sheriff's deputy to go to the holding area in the courthouse where she will be held. It's like a little jail, a little mini jail is kind of what they look like in courthouses, where all of the prisoners will go and be held while they have their cases before the court. So the judge is taking a quick recess with the jury. They'll be brought back in, and then the sentencing phase will begin. And in this case, because the jury found Megan Boswell guilty of the crime of first-degree murder, they get to make a recommendation. So she's going to do life in prison. That's for certain. The jury gets to recommend whether it is with or without parole. That's what the law in Tennessee says. So we're going to proceed immediately to this second phase of the case. Megan Boswell, now a convicted killer. And today, very swiftly, she will learn her punishment for the murder of baby Evelyn.
Missed verdict of the year by that much. Megan Boswell convicted of all counts related to the death of baby Evelyn. She was sentenced to life in prison plus 33 years. All that without the possibility of parole. Ooh. And like I said, missed it by that much. That dishonor goes to our winner, former pageant queen, Trinity Michelle Pogue. Trinity Pogue was put on trial for the killing of her boyfriend's toddler son, Romeo, 18-month-old Romeo Angeles, also referred to as Jackson Drew or JD. We're going to go to Georgia to wrap this whole entire thing up, and we're going to go and see what a jury says in that case.
Breaking news, we have a verdict out of the state of Georgia in the case against Trinity Pogue. You can see, Michael, 2 hours, 56 minutes. They had a question. Now we understand they have a verdict.
Yeah, we see that from time to time when juries have a question. It doesn't take too long after that for them to resolve any issues that they had against Trinity Pogue, charged with murder in the death of the son of her then boyfriend, who had been staying at her dorm room. He had left her in the room with the baby. The baby ended up with some very serious injuries. So the supposition is that she caused those injuries, but of course the defense is claiming she did not, and perhaps they were caused by someone else or at some other time. Let's bring back in our guest still with us, criminal defense attorney Forrest Miller. Forrest, as I said, a lot of times you get these questions. This is a little quick, but a lot of times you get these questions, and then the jury sort of clarifies what's going on in there, and then they come out with a verdict.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it came so quickly after. We were waiting for maybe 20 more minutes. That's great. They got their stuff clarified. The but that was obviously holding them up from their verdict. They defined some things, and they pulled the trigger. So I'm excited to see what the verdict is.
I was surprised it was that quick as well. And we do want to mention that is a live picture of the defendant. They're the judges. He just took the bench. We do not have any audio yet. We're waiting for the jury to get back in there. And I have to just comment on her demeanor. She's been a little bit like that. We see her now. I would be worried. I think 3 hours in, if it were me, I would be worried. Forrest, tell us what you think. And if we cut you off, it's only because they've started court.
Sure, understood. Yes, I think it's my opinion that when verdicts come quickly like this, that it's most often bad news. So her demeanor is appropriate. I think that she has some bad news coming down the pike right now.
Forrest, she didn't take the stand in her own defense. Do you think that was a mistake? I certainly do.
She can't really explain too much. They found the body in her room. And maybe to her personally, maybe she wants to hold that close and not really divulge the information that she has, and it's her prerogative. But I really don't think she could have talked her way out of this.
All right.
I think.
Four-person, does the jury
Yep, we have audio. Let's go in.
All right, if you would pass that to my bailiff, please. All right, Ms. Pogue, if you would please stand. The verdict reads as follows as to each count. On count one, it says, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. On counts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of felony murder, 2 counts, aggravated battery, 2 counts, and cruelty to child in the first degree. Y'all can have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a tough week for you, I'm sure, and I know that you probably had a lot of places you would have rather been this week than here. I do want to thank you tremendously for your service. You have shown up, you've been on time, and you've paid thorough attention. You've taken in a lot of information this week, and you're obviously, from the fact that you've deliberated over this, you've looked at this very closely. So with that, your county appreciates the work you've done, and you will receive a stipend. It's just a token of the county's appreciation. You are free to leave for the term. You're also free to, you can certainly step back into the courtroom through the other door if you wish to, or hang around if you want to speak with the lawyers, but you don't have to. You don't have to talk to anybody. You're welcome to leave at this time if you prefer. If you do, turn in your badges on your way out, and make sure that your notes are in the jury room. And I really appreciate it. Y'all are free to go.
The jury is free to go. We're waiting to see what the judge does next. Her explosive reaction of the not guilty on malice murder, meaning no intent. But
was there anything hold the jury for just a second? Ask them to step into the jury room. No, ask them to step into the jury room. Ask them to just step into the jury room. Yeah. In the jury room. Chad, if you'll pass this down, please pass this down to the lawyers.
all right, while they're just figuring that out, we can go back in when he starts to speak with the lawyers. But I just want to mention all the lesser charges has the same potential sentence, Michael, as malice murder. The judge will decide whether it's life without parole or life with the possibility of parole, even on these lessers of felony murder.
Yes, I was a little surprised at how happy the family was at the malice murder being not guilty, because basically, like you said, they carry the same penalties, so she's really not out of the woods. But I want to say the cruelty to children charge, which she was also found guilty of, that's one sentence that can be added consecutive to whatever the judge finds. I think I hear the judge again.
Mr. Gamble?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, my proposal would be to let's proceed with sentencing. I would like to give you all about 15 minutes and come back in and I'll hear from both sides and then I'll pass sentence. So it's 4:35. I'll be back in at 10 minutes until 5 and go ahead and hear from both parties and conduct sentencing. Thank y'all.
All right, so you heard the judge there. They're actually going to do sentencing today.
Yeah.
They're going to take a quick 15-minute break. The attorneys will then make their arguments to the judge, and the judge ultimately will make that decision whether she gets life in prison with parole or life without parole. And I think death might be on the table. Not sure it's on there for felony murder or not, but I think certainly life with parole or life without parole will be on the table.
I think the death is on the table, too.
You
Under
think
the sentencing guidelines, right, that's a possibility.
Right.
I just have to mention that now that the defense just found out what she's been found guilty of, not malice murder, I'm a little surprised they don't want to think about sentencing to determine what witnesses, if any, they want to present. But that's not what's going to happen.
That's not what's going to happen.
Not guilty of malice murder, guilty on everything else. Former Georgia pageant queen Trinity Pogue was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years after she was convicted of killing her boyfriend's toddler son. And that alone is reason enough why she earned verdict of the year, if you want to call it earning it that. All right, so with that, I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to deliver my final closing statement of 2025. And it has been, ladies and gentlemen, a wild year in true crime in the courts around the country. This is how I'm going to sum this up. And so we close the book on these 10 cases. We close the book on a year that asked more questions than it answered. A year that forced us to confront the darkest corners of human behavior and the brightest sparks of human courage. We saw juries wrestle with doubt. We saw families fight for truth. We saw communities demand accountability. And we saw again and again that justice is not automatic. It is pursued. 2025 reminded us that the courtroom is not just a place where verdicts are read. It is a place where stories collide, where pain meets process, where the law tries, sometimes imperfectly, to make sense of the senseless. But here's the truth that carried us through the year. Justice is not a moment. It is a movement. It is a commitment. It is a calling. Tonight, we honored that calling by remembering the cases that shaped us, the victims who deserved answers, the families who deserve closure, the communities who deserve clarity. And as we step into a new year, may we carry forward the lesson that echoed through every courtroom in 2025. Truth still matters. Accountability still matters. And the pursuit of justice, slow, imperfect, relentless, still matters. This has been the top verdicts of 2025, and court is adjourned. And before I say goodbye to all of you for this year, I want to first off send shout outs to everyone associated at Court TV for their coverage of all these trials. I want to thank them exclusively for doing the yeoman's work of keeping us informed with every trial that has gone down. I also want to thank each and every one of you guys for viewing these videos as I come live as often as I can, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to send a special shout out. I wish she was able to come in, but she's resting at the moment. But I want to send a shout out to my wife, Crystal, aka the Lady Outlaw. She has stuck by my side as I try to grow this brand, as I keep pushing forward case after case, story after story, trial after trial, and I appreciate her for it, and I love her forever and a day. And that's it. That's 2025. I hope to keep on doing this again in 2026. For now, let me remind you one last time. Once again, this is the home for true crime news without all the drama, where your opinions matter, where lively debates are encouraged, where your voice is heard, and above all else, as you saw here, justice is served. And I do this with no gimmicks, no drama, no BS. And I will keep on doing it as long as I can. Thank you for joining me throughout 2025. This is the drama-free true crime destination. Merry Christmas to all. Happy New Year. Let's do this again in 2026. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bethea'S Byte. And it's reloaded.
Thank you all for joining me here at the drama-free true crime destination. Be sure to follow Bethea'S Byte Reloaded all over social media and get your coverage of true crime news with no gimmicks, no drama, and no BS. This is Bethea'S Byte, and it's reloaded.